Welcome back, my friends and fellow agents, and I hope you are my friends. It is I, X7, your host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters, and your agent of interdimensional awesome. Something like that. Still workshopping it. Today is Monday. We are talking about the penultimate review for Sym-Bionic Titan, episodes 13 through 16, and get some more questions answered, and got a lot of great action. It's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, there's not too much romance in here. But you can't have everything, really. We needed another season. Come on, let's finish this. Let's wrap this up with another 20 episodes. That's all it'd have to be. But before we do that, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment. But let's get on with the show. Episode 13, The Demon Within. And this isn't Gene Simmons. So a Mutrati ship crash lands in a swamp, which, is going to make some kind of muck monster. Oh, look, a frog right away, eating a dragonfly or some kind of bug. There you go, Agent Frog, another shout out for you. The team is assembled, such as it is, and it heads out to the swamp. Octus is looking through. Lance says, "Did you find any life forms?" And he's like, 6 billion in the swamp alone. And that's probably a conservative estimate, very conservative estimate. But they found some otherworldly goo, which is never a good thing. It's never a good thing. They just walk right in. They see this tadpole-looking ship. I'm going to say it's a tadpole instead of what else it might look like. And they are there. They find, and then it jumps out, this membranous being from a Mutrati beast. Octus just zaps it and it dies. Well, even though you see the body, I wouldn't trust it this early in this early in an episode, right? But they get out. Octus hoses down Ilana, her armor, because it's all slimy. Lance doesn't care, so it looks dead, but it's not. It bites Ilana. Dun dun dun. So we know what's going to happen. This is their version of The Thing, more or less, sort of, kind of. Or Who Goes There, if you want the title of the short story. I swear Doc Savage is in that short story. Look it up. Tell me McCready's not Doc Savage in disguise. Be that as it may, off they go looking for it. Ilana's starting to have some mood swings. There's a frog again. She can jump a lot farther, and she's starting to realize something's gone wrong. There's a stork or a heron. One day I'll have to learn the difference between storks, herons, and cranes. We have blue herons out here in Fossil Bed. Uh-oh, she's changing. Dun, dun, dun. And there's a croc that looks dead. Dun, dun, dun. It lands. We're not told where this is. I don't think there's any swamps in Illinois where the series is set. But, it wouldn't be that far to fly to Louisiana if they got warning. But there's the being. It's got weird eyes. It's just really weird looking. They're all looking like all of them look like they're decaying or dying. And it's because they're not real animals. They're literally monsters. It's not like there's families of these, I don't think. Right away, and Ilana attacks the four-eyed crocodile and defeats it by herself and kills it. But she's fully transformed, and now she's under its spell because it uses its wobbly throat there to control her. And she attacks Octus and Lance, but they get away. Got to figure out, and he's like, we have to figure out how to fix this. The only way I can see to do it is to kill the animal. And he's like, what if that doesn't work? We'll worry about that then. So I like how her crest there is up like her little hairdo that she's got. But it's a membrane man almost. And the fight begins again. They're trying not to hurt Ilana. Lance is going to take care of the critter. They can't turn into Titan here because it takes all three of them. And she's not in there. She bowls him over, tries to save her, but he gets bunted. And now the animal realizes who it's got, and it's got the 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 mutant. So it's going to take her back to, Modala. Off it goes, looking more like a flying bug. But Lance comes in, stabs it, kills it, and her heart slowly returns to normal. She's covered in, and she's of course doesn't have any clothes on, so Lance gives her his sweatshirt. They're waiting for her, and she's like, "I gotta go back." And like, "Oh, why don't you just wait a little while longer? You probably don't want people to see you like this." I am Octus, number 14. So they're talking about what they see in this painting. I see Batman, actually. And Octus just sees the colors. Well, Newton. But meanwhile, in Paris, or Gay Paris, if you will, everything suddenly comes to a standstill. Uh, and Newton gets a message, and and he's annoyed because they call him a robot. You're a robot. You can't see such things. This was written by J.M. DeMetti, who wrote a lot of Marvel comic books and did a great job on this episode. So Octus just jets on over to Paris, and they're watching him. Even G3 is there investigating, but they're frozen. They did take this advantage of setting it in Paris with art and do some really lovely stuff here with the animation and the backgrounds. But he suddenly, contact is broken. Everyone in Springfield or Springdale or wherever they are, can't see him. Even the squirrel isn't. Birds have fallen out of there. This kid's whining. So Octus is kind of having a crisis of confidence because he doesn't know how to fix it. Looking at somebody I'm quite sure is supposed to be robot B9. I don't know what that is behind him, but there's so much going on in the background here. I'm sure I miss a lot. So he tries to form Titan, doesn't work. He scans him, nothing. And he's really having a crisis. So he says, they'd want me to figure it out. Takes him out there. He finds out that the wave is coming from space. He sends it out. And he still can't save him. There's this Mutrati looking a lot like Shilazi or that weird looking Gorukadon from Ultraman Great when it flies into there. Sherman Museum of Art, because it's looking for him. See, look at it. It's also reminiscent of a dragon. And again, decayed. Look at the wings. They're all cut up and falling apart. It finds Octus, but he's fine. Yeah. And then we get Q. So there he's running just as fast as he can, but figures out where and what to do. So he's got to trick him into doing it, zaps it, wounds it in the throat, does the old Spider-Man, Superman, name your superhero. Find me a superhero that hasn't stopped a train at some point. Even Batman probably has done this. And they revive. Titan is formed, and he's using his Hawkeye arrow or Green Arrow, or who else is? I know there's more arrows out there. The Golden Arrow from Sensation Comics #1, I believe, and kills it. Kaboom! Finally, then everyone's painting, and he draws a still life, which is beautiful. A little impressionistic, I'd say, with the background, but it's just lovely. He's like, he's good. Now he's content because he's not a robot and he's not a human. He is Octus. And now it's time for station identification. You are watching Xenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters on KXNO, part of the Xenorama Broadcasting Network. We now return you to our regularly scheduled program.
The more you tighten your grip, Tarkin, the more star systems will slip through your fingers.
Episode 15, Disenfranchised, which is the name of the band that is playing for the school cafeteria, and no one's paying attention to them because they're just these guys. Shoegazers, really, you can tell. This is from 2011, 2010, probably 2009. I mean, they're kind of reminiscent. They're kind of emo. I don't know what they are, but they're a good band. It's one of the first cartoon bands you can tell actually looks like they're playing their instruments instead of just pretending, like the Archies did or the Impossibles. And I love the Impossibles, and I'm okay with Archies. Lance suddenly gets the bug. Uh-oh. And speaking of Archie, there's a plant at the school. It's got a POW. That's a nice touch. You don't see those much anymore. But in the 70s, they were everywhere because we all had them. There's General, there's, it's Hulkbuster himself, one of those single-minded generals, but he's planted a guy in there, and he's trying because he figures that he knows that they're all around the school, and he's just a dope trying to, he's gigantic too. So they do the "what's up" gag. I thought that was dead by then, but somebody can tell me in the comments if I was wrong, and I'm not putting it in here. He smacks into Newton, who doesn't even fall over, and he's like, "Found one." Meanwhile, Lance goes to the pawn shop, and gets an acoustic guitar, and he learns to play. That first chord is nothing. I'm looking at all these as a semi-prof. I don't even know how you would make that seventh chord. What the hell is that? Yeah, but he's got a book at least. He's pretty talented, but learning to play but he learns. He starts making notes. I suppose you can do that, but then you got to learn how to strum too, and it takes longer than this. But I know condensed time for cartoons and series. Bogey incoming. Ilana's playing soccer and passes it to her would-be boyfriend Jason, who is got leg warmers on that I just noticed. Misses it, and she's like, "You'll get it next time." And we do see Kimmy in here as a cameo, but fortunately her brief cameo got cut from this episode. And meanwhile, Lieutenant Archie is following Newton. He tricks him into going into the girls' bathroom, and off they form Titan and off they go because they've got a what looks like an Asian dragon floating around here, which is fun. So they use it. This has got it's a chain sickle, and it's used exactly like it's supposed to be. It severs all of the parts of the dragon and bisects it. Unfortunately, they didn't incinerate it. Like you'd think they would just melt everything they see that comes out of that gate rift. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Archie is interviewing the kids, and they're finding out that Lance is doing all this stuff. He's so dreamy, and this guy, I wish I knew what his name was. He's hilarious, though. I mean, I know, but he's one of the, your stereotypical dumb jock with a heart of gold, but that's what he is. And there they go. He's got everyone. Oh, look, he's eating the ice pops. So meanwhile, Lance is playing the guitar, and the other guitarist shows up and is like, they jam a little bit. He's like, sup. G3 is taking pieces of the dragon with him, but they miss one, the head. So he's going to sit in. Now Lance has an electric guitar, and he doesn't tell anybody he's going to play, but they find out, and they're all excited. And Ilana's excited. All the girls are excited. And now they're making Lieutenant Archie go up and mimic them. And Octus lures him over to a janitor closet and scares him, and he runs out. He says, "Leave him alone, don't follow him, or we'll kill you." And he's like, "Woo, woo, 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 I can't do this." So there's the concert at the foot of these claw. It's like the Hydra statue in Japan. Somebody can remind me what that park is. There's a lot of people there, and even they're being infiltrated again by General Hardcastle. And he's like, "Oh, there he is. Lieutenant Archie's back there." The band is a little put out because there's so many. Oh, look, the bassist is a lefty now. Nice Ibanez, and he's got probably a Les Paul. Where did he get the money? You find a Les Paul at the pawn shop, you buy it. So they're all talking. She's like, "Nope, you have to stay, or we're going to get busted." He's like, "What are you talking about? They're right there. Holograms that Octus made for them." Off they go. And they only have this, 10 or 15-foot length of a head that's firing bolts at them into the sky. Zap, zap. Looks like a phenomenal air show going on behind the band as they're playing their one song. It's probably 10 minutes long because he's yelling at him to get out of there. More blasts. She figures out, Ilana, you have to destroy it by hitting it in its weak spot and it does. Kaboom! Look at that. That's Rockstar. Oh, now the bass guitarist is now right-handed. You can't really have a base you can play both sides. So, oops, production error. And they're all, yeah. Then they kick him out of the band because he's attracting the wrong element. We're just all about the music, man. We don't want to make money and get chicks. Lies. He's like, it's okay. And now we have one of the best episodes here. Doesn't quite live up to the Space Age love song, but it's good because it's a flashback. Escape from Galiluna. This happens right before episode 1. But you'll notice Ilana's there with her bodyguard Hobbs, Ilana and Hobbs. And Hobbs has white hair and wears a red shirt with white pants. He reminds me of somebody. I'll have to make my thoughts race to see if I can see who I can come up with. They give a speech. She's all happy, and he's like, "We gotta go." And then the little girl. Well, meanwhile, Lance is on a mission because some Mutrati have got scientists as hostages, and the king is working on Octus. Ilana, this little girl's pet, has fallen down a well. Would have been funnier if she'd fallen down the well. Hobbs. Yeah, he's if that's not race Bannon based, I'll eat the DVD set of Sym-Bionic Titan that I don't know. But yeah, definitely race Bannon. Definitely. She rescues whatever this cat thing is because there's always a well. It's a running joke for a minute. Lance goes off on his own. The Mutrati are there meeting with somebody. Dun dun dun. And I see his armor's a little different here, but he starts just blasting them. He's killed all the Mutrati, and all the scientists are already dead. The general says no, or the colonel's like, "You did this. You killed them all. We're arresting you, and the king won't save you." Well, the king's still working on Octus. Suddenly, through jump gates or whatever, they show up, and the king's like, "Well, I like the split screen here." And he says there's always a well because she's all filthy. But Lance warns the king. Oops, communication goes quiet. Lance has warned the king that there's a trap. And then there they are, bombing everything. And I don't know I think those are robot guards. It's hard to tell, but look, they still got that same kind of helmet that General Madala has. And they're coming races. Hobbs. She does look like Calvin with her blonde hair sticking up, though. I'm sure that was intentional, too. And he's flying around like crazy. They don't have any armament on this thing because Lance breaks out because they bust open the jail. He grabs a laser gun and his sword, and off he goes. She can't turn in, she can't change. It's not working. Hobbs grabs a laser gun, a Mutrati blaster, and off they go. They're trying to get to the king. Lance shows up. They're running to get the king, and now we find out that the colonel here is, one of the traitors. So Hobbs gets shot. Fight, good fight. A lot of great action here. Really well staged. Good. The king is just shooting away. He's leading his troops. He's no ruler from afar. Oh, shades of the Adventures of Robin Hood. That has, again, all this has to be intentional. And yeah, somebody's going to go down, and we already know that Lance survives. He stabs the colonel. Down he goes. But Ilana and Hobbs break through the Mutrati by just mowing him down and blowing him up. And he's not going to make it. And he doesn't. But Lance shows up. They're going to blast off to Earth in a spaceship. The final survivors, well, they're not the final survivors, but this reminds me of somebody else. It would be super hard for me I just can't get it. There's Octus. He gets introduced. He gives Lance this, whatever, super souped up one. It's like, I'll keep her safe, sir. I won't let you down. Off they go. And that's it. So, and it picks up right on, go back to episode, our first review. Such a good show. Can't we do some kind of poll or, what do you call it? Petition to get this show finished? Even a 6-episode story arc to finish it up would be fine. But I want 20 or 30. Yeah, because there's enough story in here to do that. But you know what you do if you are leaving.
Samson and Goliath coming up.
All right, my fellow agents. Tomorrow we will be reviewing Rhubarb, the 1951 movie about a cat that owns a baseball team. Yes, I'm actually going to be reviewing a sports ball sort of movie. I'm really reviewing a cat movie, so don't get ahead of yourselves. But until that next assignment, this is X7 signing off and phasing out. And remember, the sun never sets on those who ride into it. We just gotta keep going. Be seeing you.
Now, Major! Stop it! Heel! Now, Major!